Hey guys, welcome back to Ray's Create Cards. I'm Ray Henderson, and I thought we'd do something a little different today. It is new-ish to me. Earlier this year, I had bought these layering stencils by Lisa Horton. It's called Mushroom House. It is still available, and I will leave links in the description below so that you can purchase this if you like it. Now, I will also point out that this has been designed to work with her Ultimate Multi-Tool. I don't have that tool because, to be very honest, I have very little Lisa Horton things, and this is the only layering stencil set I have. What the front of the package doesn't tell you is that there are 9 stencils in this set, okay? And they're all numbered. At the very top, I don't know if you can see that number 1. There it's showing a little bit. But there's a number in the upper left corner of each one of these so you know what order to go in. My problem was picking out colors because when I first started, I had like 4 different kinds of green for the foliage. I mean, you know where I'm going with that. So I thought, no, woe back. Too many colors, it's going to look too busy. So hopefully I have picked out a good palette. Now here's what I was thinking. I don't have her Ultimate Multi-Tool. Okay, so I've got a piece of cardstock here. I believe this is 4 by 5 1/4. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I think what I'm going to do is take that. Let me try to make sure I'm kind of straight for you in the camera. Kind of, sort of. I'm going to take that first stencil and I'm going to line it up so that the holes are right on the side. That should give me enough room. Let me get out. This is number 7. Let me kind of overlay that. Yes, I'll have room for everything. Now, because this is 9 layers, this is going to be a 2-part video, as I said. I've got these wonderful fine liner. These are 0.3 millimeter, so they do have a real fine point. I got these, gosh, guys, I'd be lying if I said I remembered when I got them. Let me put my glasses on. So what my thinking is that I can take and make little black circles and go around, and hopefully it will make it easier to line each subsequent stencil up, because I couldn't figure out a way to speedily make any kind of a peg system. I mean, that's just not something you throw together. So we're going to do this very quickly, and then we're going to get started. But next week will be part 2, when we actually make it into a card. So almost done there. I think they are filled in pretty well. They don't have to be perfect. This is just a temporary use thing. Let me get this put away, and we'll get going. So on this first stencil, there is the leafery coming out from behind the house. And then there are bits of foliage down here. So I have chosen Twisted Citron for one of my greens. And I was checking it out on this paper towel to make sure I didn't have any dark green in it, and I don't. And I'm putting the cart before the horse. I have got some tape pieces over here to the side, and we're going to tape down our cardstock, because I know me, it'll shift, it'll move. Hopefully I'm not coming in too far with any of this. Okay, hopefully that's going to be enough. And then I will need to tape down my stencil as well because I'm not working on my sticky mat. So I'm going to get, alright, I've got my holes lined up, making sure here before I put this tape down, because however I start is however I need to continue. Okay, so lower right corner and upper left corner, and as long as I don't get too wild and crazy, we're good to go. So let's see what we can put together here. I love Twisted Citron. It's a beautiful bright yellow green. It's a pretty color. And then to add some shadow to this, we're going to be bringing in some Mowed Lawn. Y'all know I love my Distress Oxide inks so much. I have a few inks of Gina K's, and I like them too. A lot. I didn't have enough colors in hers to do this, so here we go. Here's Mowed Lawn, and I'm going to knock off just a little bit of that Twisted Citron. Okay. Now, basically, I'm kind of going up the middle, sort of, kind of, to get the stem and right at the base of those leaves. And I'm kind of going to do the same thing down here. Now, the foliage is so fine that it's going to be hard, but as long as I have a little bit of light and shadow, I think it'll look okay. Okay, if I get a little quiet here and there, if you've been around England at the time, you know I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So sometimes I'm really thinking about what I'm doing and may or may not always be able to talk and blend at the same time. That was stencil number 1. Let me put away. Oh, yeah, the foliage is going to be masked on this layer. And what you're seeing right here and right here are stems of some smaller mushrooms. But then this is going to be the body part of the house, of the mushroom house. So, if I did this correctly, let me get this out of my hand. If I did this correctly, that should all be lining up. And now I need to look, see where my stems are, see how everything might be masked. See if I need to adjust that a little bit down here. And basically, I'm still pretty much lined up with my black circles. So, okay. There we go. Now, the color I think I would like for the house is Speckled Egg. I got this not too awfully long ago, and honestly haven't really used it except to do an ink swatch. Now, I don't want it super dark. Even though it's a light color, I still don't want it super dark. However, because of the foliage at the bottom, it would be a bit darker down here. And I'm having to be careful because of that fine foliage, the masking. I got to be careful what direction I take my brush. Where I'm used to going both ways, I can't do that right down here. Now, I made a card with this stencil set earlier this year for my middle son's birthday. Except for his, what I did was I used metallic inks. I do want my stems to actually have some definition. They're such skinny little lines. Okay, that's not bad. They don't have to be identical in depth, but they need to show. They need to stand out and not be too subtle. And then up here, I'm going to take whatever's on my brush. Hopefully it'll be enough. I'm going to blend in to this darker ink. This is one of the reasons why I love my Distress Oxide, y'all. Is because they're movable for a bit. They're a pigment ink. They're a dye ink, but they have pigment in them. And you can kind of move that color a little bit. It's a little light right there. There we go. Okay. And I'm looking. But they blend like a dream, and I guess that's why I like them so much. I used to get so frustrated when I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator trying to achieve really good ink blending. You just about had to lay on your head. I mean, that's just how it was. And I hit my light, and now I changed it to a yellowish light, and I did not mean to do that. Let me get that back. There we go. Now we're back. Hopefully y'all can see okay. So now we're on stencil number 3. And as you can see, it is supposed to line up with your foliage, and you could have put your darker color in that way. But I didn't. I've already put my little bit of shading in there, and I'm good with that. I am good with that. So I'm going to make sure that the rest of this down here is lined up. Again, everything is masked except for the door of the main mushroom, and then there's a little house right here. Now, I think I want my main door to stay white for some contrast. So, I am going to bring in, for my red, I'm going to be using Lumberjack Plaid. And again, except for ink blending and trying it out, this is a new color to me. I don't want it too dark down here. So we're going to fill in a little house. There we go. Maybe a little darker on the bottom. A little bit lighter up in that upper left area. Okay. And then that's all I'm doing with this one. And now we're going to go on to stencil number 4. But I hope everybody is going to be heading into a wonderful weekend. Let me give y'all a heads up. If you're like me, a lot of times you don't pay attention to, you know, political things. And June the 14th, this coming Saturday, is our nation's 250th birthday. And so there is a huge celebration taking place in Washington, D.C. because it also coincides with President Trump's birthday, which I thought was amazing. I mean, you know, it's not everybody that's going to have a birthday with a celebration of our country turning 250. I'm really looking down here to make sure that what is masked off is correct. I need to move that over a little bit. Okay. I think I'm pretty good there. And look there, my holes lined up. Awesome. So now at this point, we're going to get rid of the red. We'll be coming back to it. I'm going back to my Twisted Citron, and because I know I was into the darker Mowed Lawn, I'm going to knock some of that off. And I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did the first time. And we're going to carefully fill in this delicate foliage. And then I will go back and try to put some shading in so that there's more definition than just that color. And I'm looking to see that I really do have ink in those areas that were exposed. Knock a little bit of that off. Bring back in my Mowed Lawn. Anyway, what my point was, say it told you, I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. So the thing is, there are going to be protests here and there all over the country. They're protesting Trump. That's all well and good. My caution to each of you, come home safe. Some of us live in much bigger cities where the population is fairly large, and because of that, some of the protests may be large, and because of what has been happening in LA, some of those protests could get very ugly. And even if you plan on being part of the protest, go home safe. Okay? That's all I'm saying. We all have our preferences in politics, religion, etc. Don't get hurt. Okay? I just want everybody to be safe, regardless of what your views are on politics. Be safe, please. Alright, so the only thing on this stencil is some little flowers in the foliage. And I'm not sure how the pink and the red are going to go together, but I thought I would bring in Spun Sugar. And let me check my brush here. Thought I would bring in Spun Sugar for one layer, because there's another layer that fits in a few more petals. So if I use a light pink and a dark pink, I should be okay. I have a card class Saturday, which I'm very excited for, because they're going to learn about foiling. And we are going to be foiling with and without a laminator. So, I am hoping they all have a ton of fun. I've been busy prepping all kinds of stuff for the class, and I'm excited. I hope they are too. Okay. Okay. And looky there, I'm still lined up. Ha ha. I actually did something kind of cool. Alright, this is Kitsch Flamingo. I love the pinks and the Distress Oxide. I love them. Now, I do know, and I am aware, that those who are into the Distress inks and not the oxides, I understand about Distress inks being more vibrant. Even Tim Holtz will tell you that himself. However, I'm happy with the colors that I have on my Distress Oxides, which is why I'm staying with that. Now, before all is said and done, guys, I will hold this up really close so that you can see, but I think you can see even here that I have that light and that dark pink going on. So far, so good. Now, if I line up my little holes, I want that covered. Okay, so here's something I don't know. So I have my foliage, and it kind of looks to me like maybe there's a couple of rocks here and there. I need to sketch this a tiny bit. Right there. I don't want to get up into that red with the green. And how am I looking everywhere else? And my holes aren't lined up now. Okay. 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 Slide that over just a bit. I'm looking to see where that's coming in, where this is coming in. Now, my windows, I'm going to mask those off. I don't want to accidentally get any red into them. Okay. There's that one. Here is this one. Yeah, my husband was mowing earlier and I thought, uh-oh, maybe I don't need to start trying to do the video. Because yes, I'm late. I'm late this week, guys. I'm gonna cover all this up. Let's see if I can. I'm actually going to go ahead and cover up that little house. Because I'm not sure why that would be exposed twice. Now my door, I think I want it white. But there is a tiny little door handle. And there's a lintel going all the way across. There's a frame. And so I do think I want it red. So let's get ready and see what we can do here. Now I'm going to tap some off just in case it's a little much. We're going to get this little guy. And this little guy. I try not to waste ink. Get my little doorknob and my frame around the door. I do want that good and solid around the door. Okay. And then we're going to start up here, and I'm double checking just to make sure I'm not, and I'm using a real light hand, very lightly to start, and then I'll build the color up. Okay, this is not a bad color to work with at all. Not at all. Oh, isn't that pretty? Isn't that gorgeous? And the inks just blend like a dream. It makes me look like a professional. We all know I'm not a professional. Okay. Oh no. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Did I not have that masked all the way? Did I not? Ooh. Ruh-roh. We may be starting over, guys. Look what I did. Oh. Well, I wonder. Oochie-doochie-doo. Let me see here. Let's see what we got going. Okay, here's my windows. Here are my windows. I'm looking here, not over here. You've got a couple areas here that are the back side. You know, if you were looking on the back side of the mushroom cap. Can I? Oh, I don't know. I think I can. If I make the windows red, which I hadn't planned on. That's okay. If I make those windows red, okay, I might be able to pull that off. I might be able to. Okay. Okay. I'm looking. I'm looking. I'm looking. I don't know. Some of this is a little off. Okay, we're gonna figure it out, boo-boo. We're gonna figure it out. Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is way off. Now this is back in. And... okay. Alright, well, we're gonna see what happens here. We're gonna see what happens here. And like I said, this one, this little area, I don't know. You know what? I'm just going to do it all as foliage and be done with it. That's how I'm going to proceed now. Alright, let's see what happens here. We're going to have red windows. We're going to have little red shadows back behind. Well, why did I cover that up? Told you. Told you. My husband's Father's Day is Sunday. Do I have his card finished yet? No, I don't. There we go. That filled that in a little bit more. We're just going to go ahead and go with red windows. That's all I know to do. It may not completely cover up that boo-boo, but that's okay. Now, here I am going to get in trouble if I do not mask off that foliage right there. This foliage right here. And if I hold my mouth right, I swear on my time, if I hold my mouth right, I'll get that one filled in. That one. This one. Okay. And there's this little, I don't know if it's like a rectangular window, peephole, what that is on the door. I do want it red as well to go along with the red doorknob. Okay. Okay. Is that dark enough on the windows? Okay. Now, let me pick this up. I didn't have it taped securely, did I? All right. I love stencils. Some stencils are a little fussier than others, but I love them. I'm going to get my alcohol, and over to the side, I'm going to clean my stencil off very quickly so that I can then mask off what we just did in the red and get the little bits of foliage that are also on this layer. Rather be safe than sorry. Of course, I didn't have to do the traditional red mushrooms, but I really wanted to. Okay. I think I got that good enough. So now we are going to go back in there. line everything back up how I had it. Okay. I have got the little roof here of the small house as well. And I honestly hadn't thought about what color to make that. I don't want to make it... I don't want to make it red. Don't think. I don't think I do. Don't want to make it red, but I don't want to make it green either. So I'm going to mask that off for the minute. We're going to come back in with Twisted Citron. Once again, let me make sure I am getting off the Mowed Lawn. There, it's cleanish. Okay, and I'm just going to continue as though all of this is foliage. I'm not sure. Sometimes when you're doing stuff like this, you just kind of have to claim it and make it your own. So my birthday is also coming up. I got a wonderful gift in the mail today, and I don't know if I can talk about it without tearing up a little bit. It was so special. I think what I'll do is wait and show that to you in next week's video. By then, hopefully I won't be tempted to kind of tear up too much. So, and when you see it, you'll understand why I'm just a bit emotional about it. Okay. Did I get enough? I got enough. Okay. And now at this point, I need to mask off the window on that small door. Come on, boo-boo. There we go. There's no browns in here. It's not really. Let's do gray. Let's just do a gray. Gray is a good neutral. I actually have my Hickory Smoke, which maybe I should use the Lost Shadow. I don't know. Let me check out my brush that I use with my gray. It's a little dark. Okay. Let's get this. And fill in that little... Oh, you know what? I missed a piece of foliage up there. So I know you can't really see what I'm doing with my big finger in the way. There we go. And with whatever is left on my brush, I'm going to get that one little bit of foliage that I missed. And if it doesn't have any shading, then it doesn't have any shading. There we go. Now let's see what we have. It's coming together slowly, but it's getting there. But I didn't want to keep y'all here all day to do all this and trying, you know, to finish it up into an actual card. And guess what, guys? Here we are at stencil number 9. Now I'm going to fill that in a little bit so that doesn't look so funny. I've kind of got a gap there. Kind of sort of do. At this point, if you're still with me, thank you for hanging out with me and being patient. And let's see if I'm... All right, now I am looking over at my black circles. And I do not have out my white pigment ink. So we need to get that. Okay. I bet y'all have stencils that you're not using. Get them out. Play with them. Even if they're a little on the fussy side. And yes, I would say that this is a little on the fussy side. And had I been artistic enough to design this set, the one thing I would have done for the mushroom cap, the big one, is I would have masked off so that this would line up and you didn't have to try to cover the white. I'm not sure how this is going to go. But my favorite white pigment ink is Hero Arts, the unicorn. And I need a brush that is pure white. And something on that one. Okay, it's gone now. I'm not picking up any kind of ink on here. It's just stained. Feels pretty good, so let's give it a try and see what we come up with. This should be pretty good and dry, even though it's got that pigment. So let's just see what we can do. I'm going to start on the little ones. You know what might be really pretty? Oh, I didn't think about it. Some kind of a paste that would be white. That might be really pretty. And because this is the last layer, yeah, because I'm thinking it's going to be a booger to try to get that really white. It looks kind of pink, but going over that deep red. Okay, let me look. What do I have for a white paste? Oh, here's my white texture paste. That will work. Let me get my favorite palette knife. Oh, I think this will work. And I think it will add some wonderful dimension. Okay. But this is texture paste, if I can talk. Opaque Matte from Ranger. Okay. Let's just put this on here and see what we can do. Because I think this will work so much better than trying to get that white pigment ink to layer up enough to really be white. Okay, I don't see where it's picking up any of that color. I don't think so. So I'm good to get my excess up. Scrape that off and put it in the jar. Oh, I get my press and seal here and put that down in here. I have had this jar for quite some time. The fact that it hasn't already dried out amazes me. Okay, so I didn't realize I was going to be doing this. Oh, I like it. Somehow, some way, I have missed some foliage. And somehow, some way, let me show you what we've got so far. I'm going to put this aside to dry. And, oops, come on. When we come back next week, we will finish making this into a card. So I've got a little bit of something there. I might be able to get that stencil back out and fill that in a little bit. And of course, there's that little blurb right there. But you know what? I'm just not going to let that bother me. What do you think, guys? Isn't that festive and cute? Except for the missing areas. But at this point, I don't dare lay a stencil over that. So we're going to let it dry. We'll be back next week. We'll make it into a card. Until then, y'all be safe, be blessed. Know you are loved. God is good all the time. Bye.